Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today's another episode of games that are meh. And today is another Atari game, and coincidentally is another Activision title. And that's unusual because, you know, I always talk highly of Activision titles on the Atari as being the greatest games, you know, or some of the greater games on the Atari, which is true in most parts because you get games like Hero and, I mean, there's a lot to talk about there. Now this one is a sports title, which is boxing. Now the last one I did, the games that are meh, was Freeway, which was really just a chicken crossing the road. So this is boxing, and it's, you know, I guess it's boxing. This one is actually the, what do they call this, the French-English version. So you got Le Box. So if you want to call it Le Box, you can call it Le Box. But it's boxing. Anyways, yeah, I mean, this is just a simple 1 or 2 player boxing game. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to slam it. I'm not going to say it's garbage. And I'm not going to say it's the greatest game either. It's just okay. And, it, you know, could be fun if you're playing against, like, other people. I don't know if it's as fun playing against the computer. Maybe if you're just practicing. But it's one of those games that, you know, if you have a party, you've got your friends over, you want to pop something in your Atari and go head-to-head, this is one of those games. So let's play boxing on the Atari 2600. Okay, we got boxing on the Atari 2600, made by Activision. Yeah, pretty typical startup screen for a lot of these games on the Atari, especially, you know, simple games like this. They didn't go through the effort to create like a title screen or anything like that. So it's really just the fighters ready to go. So you got the, you know, your number of players and stuff. Really, I mean, white and black, that's it. They just, there's no real change in that. So, I don't know. Let's just get to playing it. I'm going to hit the reset button here. So I'm the white dude. And, I mean, really, all you're just doing is just trying to punch the guy in the face. Not a lot of maneuvers. You can see up there, that's the amount of hits he has, the 18, and I have the 13, so I'm losing. Which means I have to, like, get my game going here. And I mean, this is pretty much the game. I mean, you walk over to the other side of the board, or the ring, and he will turn around. You don't really control that. You just kind of walk over there, and he'll turn around. You can't really go in any other direction. It's really just this way or that way. I mean, it's good for like competition. I guess if you're gonna have a friend over and you know you just want to goof off and box each other, but. I mean, there's no combos or any kind of, like, maneuvers that you could do. It's really just rock 'em and sock 'em at this point. I mean, that's not a bad thing. It's just what the game is. I mean, and if you don't really understand what you're looking at, I mean, it is a top-down view. So that's the top of the guy's head there. That's his arms kind of stuck out. You don't get to see their feet or anything like that. So if you don't know what you're looking at, it could look pretty weird. If you were to just show this to somebody and be like, what are you looking at? They probably wouldn't get it. They probably wouldn't know because they couldn't change the coloring. They didn't give them like red boxing gloves or anything like that. I think I'm just like punching and running and punching. Oh, ran out of time. So it looks like we tied. That's exciting right there. 93 to 93. Oh well. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean there isn't a whole lot. I mean you got the selection option. You got 1 or 2 players. So if you just want to, you know, have your opponent, and I can just come over here if I feel like just beating the crap out of something, and I don't want an opponent that's gonna fight back, I could just corner the guy and pummel him. That's kind of fun. Just take my rage out on player 2. punch, 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 punch. KO. KO. All right. Boxing. Well, there it is. I mean, that was boxing. You can even see on the cartridge, I mean, the screenshot. That's what I always loved about these older Activision labels, was that they usually did have the screenshot of the game on the cartridge itself, which was extra cool. I mean, they started changing things up later on. They started coming up with these dark blue labels with just text on them. You know, not as exciting. They all look the same. They're all dark blue with the white text. Probably a cost-cutting measure or something like that. But anyways, I mean, like I said, the game is boxing. It's just simple, straight-up punching. There's no combos. There's no... there's nothing. I mean, you can't do all of the things that you would normally do in, say, other boxing games, like, you know, uppercuts and, you know, whatever, moving and blocking and all that stuff. It just doesn't exist in this game. But that doesn't mean it's a bad game. It's still fun. I actually remember when I first got my Activision Classics on the PC. I'm going back to like Windows 95 days, like back when the PC era was still kind of new to people. And I remember getting the Activision, I think it was Activision Classics. I probably still have somewhere over here. And it was fun because I didn't know a lot of these games were on the Atari. I never tried them. I never had the Atari when I was a kid, like I've said before. I did borrow it once from a friend and had a bunch of games that I played. I don't know if I ever played this when I was younger. So playing it on the computer for the first time, I was like, wow, this is boxing. But I don't know. Strangely, I kept playing it and playing it. I was like, this is kind of fun. I mean, it's not overly exciting. It's not a title that I would be like, you got to play boxing, you got to own this game. But it's fun. I mean, I bought it just because I thought, throw it in my Atari every once in a while and just have at it. Now, that being said, there is real sports boxing, which I believe came a little bit later. I don't know if it's got the, 1988 on the label there. Let's see if there's if I could read it. It's not all faded here. 1982 for this one. So, you know, that's fairly old compared to this, 88. These were the later titles. When, you know, Atari came back with the Atari Junior and all these, like, purple-colored, you know, like, the Donkey Kong had it too, the purple, came out around the Junior time. And so a little bit more complicated games were coming out. So this game does exist, and it's a little bit different. It's, well, it's a lot different. There's moves in this one. There's combos. There's, you know, a lot more. The fighters are facing each other in a normal fashion, not on top-down like this one is trying to be. Now, that being said, this is a little bit ambitious for its time. You know, just the thought of, you know, staring down on the boxing ring and trying that different kind of view. I thought that's kind of interesting because there really isn't any other boxing games I could think of that kind of run that way. I mean, you got Punch-Out, which is the opposite, or, you know, the straight on, where you're actually facing your opponent, which is cool. So this is actually going top down, which is interesting. It's different. And I know a lot of people don't really know what those people look like. I've even heard things like, you know, it looks like Geodude from Pokemon, you know, things like that. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, that was boxing for the Atari 2600. It's just a title I thought I'd throw out there as it's an okay title. It's not crap, but it's not great. It's just meh. Anyways, let me know what you think. Throw some comments below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? And what other games do you think are meh? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.